Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Roman from English class on Thursday from 5 to 8 o'clock. In this video, I will talk about what I've learned in the Unit 8 and 9 in English class. My first topic of the unit of what I've learned in Unit 8 were the inventions and discoveries, where we saw some examples right there of the TVs, wheels, and 3D printer. We also ranked some important inventions, discoveries like antibiotics, internet, and last but not least, the water purification. We also talked about the unreal conditions, and we saw that the sentence described how the name says it, unreal conditions. And also we saw some examples. The simple past tense, or wherein the if clause, like if I wanted cutting edge phone. Another example was using would or could. Another example is we could study together. I also remember we talked about the contradictions in the spoken English, where we saw the different pronunciations of the spoken contractions of what we had, would, and did. Something I remember we saw in Unit 8 was that we described the new inventions, where we had a chart with categories of inventions, where we had to choose the new inventions. I remember I chose like 5 of those inventions, and some examples of those were for safety in the car, for eating or snacking, to get in shape, for preparing for tests, obviously, and home relaxing at home also. We saw the creation of the antibiotics that we created by Van Leeuwenhoek, I don't remember his name pretty well, in 1675, and the importance of it nowadays for the prevention of serious infections. The last thing I remember we saw were a bunch of pictures of the use of will, where we saw how human beings used to create things like the horse-drawn chariot, the potter's wheel, and the automobile. Those were some inventions they made with the wheel. In Unit 9, we saw the controversial issues, where we test ourselves how political we are. We also saw a chart of vocabs, where we had to read them and then listen after that. We had to repeat them, and some examples were where, politics, vote, an election, a monarchy, and there were a lot more, but I don't remember. We saw a photo story of Paul and Carlo, and we had to restate a few sentences that they had in their conversation in the photo story. Some sentences were, what are you up to these days? And this one means that what have you been doing lately? Another sentence is no worries, and this one means don't worry. Exactly. We saw non-count nouns that represent ideas, where right away we had a grammar practice choosing the correct form, the noun, and verbs. Some examples were our advice to you is to avoid discussing politics. Both candidates have programs for health and education. And we also saw some vocabs, and some of them were conservative. This one means to preferring to continue to the things as they have been done in the past rather than risking it. Radical means supporting complete political or social change. We also saw more grammar in the page, where we saw the verbs followed by objects and infinitive. Some examples of these type of verbs were advise, allow, cause, invite, and tell. We also saw in this unit a topic about the proposal of solutions to global problems, and we read a chart with the most frequently mentioned problems globally. And these were the corruption, poverty, terrorism, racism, and discrimination. And well, that's what I've learned in Unit 8 and 9. I hope you like it, and good night.